Two truths and a lie, TJ.
Yes. This is douchey for sure.
I have, like, men that I know, not all the men in my life. I know that there are going to be some guys in my life listening, like, this is not me, but, like, love lying. And so, like, for there to be, like, two truths and a lie, being like, fuck yeah, like, I get to fucking lie.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Menage-A-Pod, the hysterical comedy podcast about sex, dating, relationships, and whatever else we feel like talking about. I'm TJ. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, BFF, and the tick to my talk, Jenna.
Hello. How are you?
I am absolutely delightful, friend. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for this coffee. I feel like I haven't had a lot, although it's
a lot.
It's like a big gulp of coffee. How do you drink this and not die? Because I feel like my heart's fluttering.
I barely sleep and I pee constantly. I'm like a racehorse kind of.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm definitely racing towards a premature death that's brought on by lack of sleep and caffeine overload.
Seriously, you have like no blood in your veins. It's all coffee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And normally I have like a semen backlog that's like just kind of
running through your veins.
I mean, I'm just so full of it because I haven't been releasing on a regular.
It's like coming out of your ears now. It's very awkward
My
on
eyes,
dates.
yeah.
Everyone thinks it's a runny nose.
Dates, what are those? What are those?
I don't know, man. I haven't had one in a while, so your guess is as good as mine.
I actually have one tonight.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. First date, and I went on the crazy story. You're never going to believe this. This will be a short one, but you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So I met her on a dating app, like, take a guess how long ago?
Oh my God, years.
2, probably.
Yeah, that was shocking.
2 years ago. We work in the same industry.
Mm-hmm.
We have matched in the last 2 years easily 30 times. I gave her my number last December of 2019 when I was on a break from the one person.
Mm-hmm.
And we texted for a couple days. Of course, it fell apart. And this time when we matched, her first message was like, look, bro, I don't even know why the fuck I bother with you.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I mean, what is it with these women? Like, guys, is it really, and this is no offense to you, my love, but like, are there really not many eligible men out there that you continue to chase after one that has been matching and unmatching, talking, not talking for 3 years?
I don't unmatch.
Or you just don't meet them. You just don't meet them. You breadcrumb and string them along for 3 years. No one can see the look on your face right now except for me and these two dogs. And we all know the truth.
There was one woman just recently was like, TJ, can I ask you, what was it about my profile that made you want to give me an extend? Because I extended her like hours and I wanted to
nothing.
I'm like, I got boost, so I can give it to everyone. You're not special.
Wow.
Everybody gets 48 hours in this world.
Oh my God. Ladies of Chicago, stop being so fucking thirsty. That's all I've got to say about that. I'm done with that conversation.
All right.
Okay, next. God, fuck, man.
I also, okay, 2 more quick things. And these are super quick. First one, want to give a shout out to some new listeners.
Ooh.
Sean, new to the crew. Love him. Great kid. Checked out a couple of the episodes. Comes from a Facebook group, the Chicago Toasters. I like advertise some photography stuff in there. That's how we met. Also, we haven't read an ad or anything in a while. And guys, I cannot stress this enough. More than anything, if you could go to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, just rate us, review, make sure you're subscribed. That helps more than anything.
Yeah.
You know, right now we had a wonderful week of downloads. We're recording right now on a Saturday and we're about 10 downloads-ish away from like surpassing double our greatest week ever. So
yeah, well, you were supposed to shit your pants, I think was the
one day. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to shit my pants if we hit this amount of downloads. But
I was like, in your pants? Or like, he was like, I don't know, let's see. And then we didn't do it. So we had to fuck that one up, guys, because that would have been awesome.
We missed it by about like 5%. So
oh, man.
I'm cool with
next time.
Yeah, no shitting in my pants.
Next time.
So make sure you're reviewing, subscribing, doing all those things. We really, really appreciate it. as you're listening, if you want to share the podcast, we love that. But also, we depend a lot on audience engagement. So if you have stories or ideas for suggestions or things you want to talk about, or maybe there's someone that you follow on social media, whether that's on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and they have an interesting life, and maybe they're producing content that's you think would mix with ours and be relevant to you guys, just reach out and let us know, because we'd love to try to have people on that you're going to enjoy and keep bringing you guys stuff that you're going to love.
I like that. Also makes our jobs a little easier, so we don't have to keep finding talent all the time.
I mean,
it's exhausting being us.
I find talent
sometimes.
all the time.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, moving on.
What do you got going on?
I just wanted to tell you guys, Miss Molly, my sweet little foster lady that I, in the last episode, was worried I was going to have forever, has a forever home at the end of the month. So I was feeling really guilty about it, though. I mean, she's going to my friend's mom, which is great. She's already knitting her sweaters and whatnot. So Molly's already spoiled and she's not even there
Can
yet.
I ask you what the whatnot is?
Well, I don't know. Probably blankets and shit.
Okay, got
little mini scarves for her. I don't fucking know.
Little,
but she's
like
a knitter.
anklets, like little fur anklets?
Probably. Yeah, little booties maybe. Yeah.
I love the word booty.
She's very fancy, this dog. She's going to be very fancy out in the suburbs. But anyway, so she's going to a forever home, but I'm so sad about it because I've already fallen in love with her. But they asked me if I wanted to keep her, and I said, let's see what happens. But I knew she'd go so fast because she's small and cute. And
sure.
They love
and
little,
she's adorable.
She's adorable.
Small and cute, just like I like them.
Small and cute. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's at Chicago Cafe Racer.
You know what's so funny? Just for the record, when I was putting together some of the bios for, I did our write up for Menage-A-Pod for the Be Positive radio station that we're going to be on.
Yeah.
I realized it had our Instagrams in it, and I was like, I took them out just for the purpose of that advertising deck. But I was like, what? Of course they're on there. I don't remember doing that. Was that a you edition or did I do that?
Oh, no, we did up front.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. But it made me giggle as I was rewriting it. I was like, okay, I see you.
Oh, yeah. I was leaning into it from the beginning.
Yeah, you were. You really were.
This is the long con on just getting as many Instagram DM dates ever.
Oh my God. It's so true. Well, it's working, right?
So, yeah. I'm not going to try to act like it's not. Never mind.
Yeah.
Jana.
Anyway, so how about you? Anything you want to tell me?
Okay, actually, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't really going to talk about that.
Oh,
but yeah.
Then don't.
Yeah, first week back at work.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. Love that. It's going to be nice to be making a productive living again.
Yeah.
And not
being back downtown.
Back downtown, yes.
Yeah.
COVID be damned. And the other thing is the office location is great.
Yeah.
And for photography purposes, one thing that I noticed is that I've honestly gotten more engagement on my personal Instagram in the last 7 days than I have ever. And it's because I've just been doing nothing but that area of Chicago downtown photos. And I found a nice hashtag set. And even though I have not posted anything about our podcast or me personally, my web link on my Instagram, which previously the most clicks it's gotten in a week is 80. It had 341 this week.
Wow.
So I'm awesome.
I changed mine to a business profile so I could see the analytics on it. And then I realized that I couldn't have it private.
Yeah.
So then I changed it back.
What a pussy.
I just don't like everyone out there seeing my shit.
You host a podcast and talk about your life.
I know. So I've been thinking about this a lot actually, because especially for the radio show, I was thinking I might just need to start a new one that's what's the word I'm looking for? Audience facing.
Sure.
It's not as personal as my own.
But your own sucks. It's not even a good Instagram.
What does that mean?
It means you are low value content.
Because it's about my life.
I'm just kidding.
Because I'm not shooting pictures of rivers and
whatever.
skylines.
It's just it's you. And
right. Isn't that the point?
Sure.
Isn't that why people
you need to start doing, if you're going to do that though, you need to once a month or whatever, get out there and do a little shoot to give yourself some content to be
I'll
posting.
leave that up to you.
Okay.
But
I'll be your content director.
Well, obviously it would be a little bit more focused. It would be more curated. That's my point, is that the one I have now is just my life for people that I know, people that know me.
It's mostly just a collection of dildos.
Friends. Totally. Well, actually that's what that's what the other one would be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it would be a little more curated and not just my actual life. It would just be more on brand, as we like to say. I don't know. I've been thinking about it, but then I'd have to start over with followers, and that seems like a lot of fucking work. I don't know. Anyway.
I mean, and you won't necessarily have me this time to do all the work.
I know. So what am I going to do?
You know,
I have to hire someone.
Jenna, are you about to be real flattered here? We got just a couple more minutes before our guest is going to come on. Mm-hmm. But in that couple of minutes, you're about to be real flattered. So you know what I was considering?
What?
I am at least mildly concerned that our individual efforts will suffer without the mutual reach of both of our audiences. And due to the fact that I chose, and now I'm actually thinking about making a slight adaptation to it, that my show is very like sports forward, but my audience is like 90% women and gay men. Yeah. I've now considered that maybe I want to have it be like a more general audience, because I'm like, the people that now are my audience are not going to listen to me talking about sports.
Well, maybe it'll open up a new audience though.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, maybe it'll be their boyfriends, or maybe it'll just be a brand new audience that you can bring into the podcast.
So what I've considered is, instead of doing like, it was going to be like top events of the week in sports, and then you defend a thing you love sports related and I shit on it. And we kicked around some ideas for names. I don't know if you want to announce your name. I'll announce mine. Mine's going to be called Intentionally Foul. And that
was the one I liked.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm doing like intentional and then the LY in parentheses, because intentional foul is like the term, but the joke is that I'm intentionally being foul.
Right.
And so, but now what I want to do is still like have sports be an option, but have it be like sports and the world of like entertainment and pop culture. So we can talk about broader scope of topics in the beginning that appeal to way more people, including people that already exist in my audience. And then when you come defend things, then it doesn't have to be a sports thing. You can defend a band, a movie, whatever the fuck you want to defend it, and I'll shit on it.
I think we can workshop this a little bit, because my favorite true crime, one of my favorites, is called Small Town Murder.
Okay.
And it's with two comedians, and they're very funny, actually. And they started with a show called Crime in Sports. So they basically did like a crossover. So they have an audience, like the same audience. So like, even though it's like everything that has to do with crime that's happened with like someone who's played sports.
Like O.J. Simpson trial.
Right, exactly. There's still like a true crime. I feel like we can workshop this a little bit off air and figure out what that crossover could be for you. Something maybe a little bit like that. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Anyway. Right. Okay, so I'm really excited about our guest today.
How excited are you?
Like, so excited.
Do you want to tell me more about how excited you are?
I do. I want to tell you about her. She seems really great. So we've talked a lot in the past about how COVID made me download TikTok and how insanely addictive it has become. I feel like you said you haven't been on it a lot lately, right?
I haven't. I mostly got addicted to it just to win the love of a woman. I won that love and lost that love. TikTok has lost its utility for me.
Okay. Anyway, TikTok's been my best friend when I get these annoying bouts of insomnia, which we all know I get. But I feel like its algorithm lately only thinks I care about shirtless dancing men and puppies and then keto recipes. So like 2 out of 3 is not so bad. Like keto recipes, I love bread. That's like not my jam, but shirtless men and puppies, I'm all about it. Anyway, I've also been getting a lot of weird like tarot TikTok. Have you stumbled upon that?
I have not.
Ugh. It only comes to me at nighttime too, which makes me also think their algorithm's smarter than I give it credit for. And I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, what does my future hold about love? And then I get a tarot card reading on my TikTok. While I was doing all that, I stumbled upon this gem of a human whose videos were so funny and relatable about men's dating profiles on apps that in my insomnia-induced haze, it was like 3 a.m. I DM'd TJ and was like, we have to have her on the show ASAP. I think she sees like right into my soul with these videos. And thankfully she agreed to be on and was okay with me being a weirdo fan and pitching her cold. So she's a good sport. I'm really excited to have her on today.
In addition to her very funny videos on TikTok, Amelia Samson is an actress from Seattle who co-hosts a sex-positive podcast.
Same girl.
I knew it was coming. Called The Holy Hour, which, by the way, I absolutely love.
Super clever.
We could not be more excited to have her on today. So with no further ado, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys. Thanks for wanting to talk to little old me.
Oh my God. I was obsessed with your videos. I'm not even joking. So we had mentioned this before, but we sort of pre-recorded the intro before we talked to you. But like literally, like I have terrible insomnia. First of all, quarantine got me into TikTok. I thought I was a little too old for it. I didn't want to bring up the average age, so I was like, I don't know if this is my jam. But I
There
don't
is
post
over
any,
30 TikTok.
There
I'm
is,
just saying
there
that.
is, there is. But I didn't. I don't really post anything. I just am like a creeper and watch everyone else's videos. And especially when I get insomnia, although I've realized lately, I think TikTok's actually contributing to my insomnia because I think it wakes up my brain. I don't know, but it never makes me sleepy. Cruising like Instagram makes me fall asleep immediately, but TikTok, I'm like super entertained. Anyway, I came upon your video and I was like, I need to be friends with her. Like she is literally saying out loud everything that I think when I look at these fucking stupid dating profiles. I hate it. I hate dating, even though we have a dating podcast. I'm not at all bitter.
Well, before we jump into that, since we started off talking a little bit about what you do, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, like your age, if you're single, kind of what your show's about?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. So I am 27 years old. Single, Gemini. I don't
Good. That's very important. There's a lot of astrology fans in our listener base.
This is another thing TikTok's gotten me into. I'm a zodiac master now. No, I'm not.
Same. Do you get tarot?
Yeah. Yes. I get all of those videos on my. I'm fully bought in now. But I was a lot like you. I didn't want to get onto the TikTok train. It felt because it started out as Musically before it got bought. And it was all lip sync videos. And I was like, I don't think that this is my jam. So like all the ads would come up on my news feed. And I was like, this is for 12-year-olds. So I joined kind of out of irony. I was just like, should we like make fun of it? And then like 10 minutes later, I was completely hooked. There's so much incredible stuff on TikTok, a lot of like educational stuff. So I just started consuming a lot on TikTok. This was back in November. Around the same time, November 2019. Around the same time, I was going through a really, really awful, painful breakup from an 8-year relationship. And it was one of those, it was tough. I grew up with this kid, like I was in the process of figuring out who I was. And originally the breakup was supposed to just be like a break. You know how that goes. Yeah. And
TJ's famous for those. He loves a good break.
Yeah. They feel so much safer and they're almost always the worst idea. Just break up. And I know that now, but I didn't at the time. And
thanks for the pro tip. I appreciate it.
So I figured this is important to getting to my point of the story, but it feels a little long-winded. I figured that he would be waiting for me because we talked about just like, we're not going to be dating other people. We're just going to focus on ourselves. Found out soon thereafter that he was already with somebody else. So, like very quick after 8 years, anyway, we're not going to talk about him. He doesn't deserve the airtime.
No, he doesn't.
But I started dating hard. When I found out that he was with someone, I hit the ground running. I was on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, The League. I was trying to get onto Raya, which doesn't sound like it's going to happen for me, but it's okay.
Hey, with this TikTok following, now you might
you might get on it.
I feel like I need to delete my profile and try again now that I have a little bit of a following.
I think you should. I think you should.
I think I should too. We'll follow up. And then around that same time, I got really close with my friend Liz during quarantine. This was around March. We're going through heartbreak at the same time. And I really at the time wanted to listen to a podcast so I could just pump it into my ears all the time. Just hearing somebody going through something similar that knew what it was like, because heartbreak is a very isolating feeling. It feels like nobody could ever possibly understand what it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so many people do. So from there, it turned to what the Holy Hour now is, because we were realizing a lot of our female friends weren't comfortable talking about sex openly like our male friends are with each other. And all of us wanted to. We were like, why are we holding back on this? It's like, is it a societal thing that like women are, it's like less ladylike to talk about sex? So we decided just to like set up a microphone and talk about sex, how girls talk about sex when there's nobody around. And we kind of just treated it like that. Like the microphone was the third person in the room and we're just like hanging out and we're like popping Trulies and just like talking shit. And it's turned into something that we would have never have expected it to. A lot of our audience is straight guys just like needing.
Oh, I'll be there.
Yeah. Perfect. It's really cool. Like we've heard that it's helped them have conversations with their partners or help them understand that like women talk about and think about sex very similarly to men, but we just like don't feel as compelled to be open about it. And like sex is one of my favorite topics. It's so fun to talk about. It always has been. Even before I started having sex, I was like really interested in talking about it and learning about it and hearing people talk about it. So it's been a really rewarding thing for me. And we have much more of a listening than we expected, which is also fun. And it's been cool. It's allowed me to be open in like every other area of my life, which kind of led into the whole TikTok thing.
Yeah, I think that really resonates with me. I know when we started doing this podcast, Jenna would always give me shit, and we'd hear from our listener base that they felt like I wasn't open or vulnerable enough about my life and my experiences and things, especially like as it pertains to like, I could make jokes about someone else's stuff, but I never was vulnerable about my own. And since I've started doing that more, the feedback has really shifted. And now it has given me, I think, the kind of emotional depth and maturity to be more that way in my relationships, but then also in my creative endeavors to be more kind of honest and genuine and authentic and true to who I am. So I definitely can relate to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to turn the interview around, but I'm curious, have you guys found like any new challenges with dating since you've started this? Like, are people always concerned they're going to like make it on the pod?
I kind of want your camera to be on for this one.
Okay. All right.
Well, wait, why I wanted to start this podcast with him was like, for me, it was like, look, I had just been through a divorce. I hadn't dated. I mean, I got married in my 20s and I hadn't dated for quite some time. I had been off the market. There weren't apps when I was in my 20s, like there are now. I mean, there was like obviously like Match.com and shit like that, but not like something so on demand like Bumble and Hinge. So I needed an outlet to not only complain about it and not feel so alone, because I know that I wasn't the only one going through it at the same time. Like when you hit your 30s, you're gonna find that a lot of your friends are gonna start getting divorced. I hate to say it, because like at the time, it's like I had 5 people in my life that had gotten divorced all at the same time, and we just commiserated, and it was really cool. And then what I started to do is I'd be like, TJ, like I just had this issue on a date, or like, I don't know, I went out with this guy and I think he might have a drinking problem. Can we have a therapist on and talk about addiction? Right. So then I started to use it as a platform to help me, quite honestly, like figure out what the fuck was going on and like how to deal with certain things. So it's been a really interesting adventure. With that said, it has been terrible for my dating life.
Amazing for my dating life.
Amazing for his. And we've talked about it.
I date out of our inbox quite a bit.
Yes. Wow. Oh yeah. Whatever.
Like rest assured, there are many people that will listen to this that I have some history with, for sure.
They're just like rage listening.
Probably. Yes, that's accurate. I think that the thing is like, it's so funny because like, maybe it's just how women think, right? Because he gets people sliding into his DMs constantly. And they'll even reference the podcast. And it's like, are you even listening to him talk? Like, no offense. I love you, buddy. But like, really, like he's not secretive about it, you know? So,
what are you talking about? I am a modern gentleman.
Sure. And then here I am talking about sex openly and what like makes me happy and like what I want in someone and what's important and emotional intelligence and all the shit that like we want in a relationship. And yet somehow, I'm not kidding you, I have had multiple people find the podcast just when they Google my name and then will say, hey, I don't want to be talked about. I don't want to be a topic. And I'm like, well, if you'd actually listen to it, it's topical. So it's never about a person that I'm dating. Like I might reference a scenario that happened when I was married or someone I had recently dated, but we don't use names. Like it's topical. So like if you don't fall into a category that we're talking about, then I think you're pretty safe. And grow a fucking pair of balls, dude. Right? Like,
Right.
be a man.
Like, and also just coming out of the gates, like, you're probably going to talk about me is like probably a good litmus test. Cause it's like, if you're concerned about me talking about you, then you're probably a concerning person. So we don't need to, we don't need to visit that.
I very much wish that Jenna could just see the gestures that you did when you said concerning person. For all of our listeners right now, this is not a video podcast and it's all lost on you, but it was great. I can assure you.
Very Italian with my hand motions. Sorry, Gina, I didn't want to cut you off. What were you saying?
No, you're good. No, that was it really. So I was curious to know, like, have you, I'm assuming yes, had some issues, especially sex. Why does it with men thinking like it's not okay for us to be so sex positive?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is like, could be a whole like 2-hour conversation. I've had, it hasn't been so bad with dating. I've run into, and this sounds dumb because like our podcast isn't like an Apple Top 100, you know what I mean? But we do have like a good listenership, but guys, like a couple of guys that I've dated have kind of like clout chased. Like they've like they've like dug in and been like really interested in what it's about, and then we'll like go out and like we'll be talking about stuff, and they're like, "Is this going to make it on the podcast?" Like every like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I don't know, like like what the fuck? Like it's a very strange. It hasn't like deterred people yet. But it's also,
you'll get there.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of waiting for it. But like, it is a good litmus test in terms of like how they first react to it. Like I'm seeing a guy right now, super casual, like very early on, but we were like going through our like red flags about ourselves. And one of the ones that I said was like, I'm sure that like the podcast is going to be an issue. And he's like, I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I just won't listen. I was like, good fucking answer. Yeah. Like that is, it's a good test for how people respond to it. But outside of that, I haven't had anybody like jump ship because of it yet. So that's good. But I think that's interesting that TJ, like you have a different experience with like how women respond to it.
And I lead with it quite a bit. Like my dating app, all of my profiles mention our podcast. I've actually been banned from several apps for advertising the podcast.
Interesting.
So now that I'm actively like right now, I'm fully single, actively dating, and there are pictures from like our live performance, pictures from like what very clearly, and our Instagram handles in it. It says like, and people lead with it. A lot of times I've had women who they'll message me, and by the time I get back to responding to two of them on Bumble, the first like 3 messages will be like, oh, hey, I'm listening to your most recent podcast episode. And they have like little critiques or jokes about it or whatever. And I don't know if they think it's just this easy way in, because I personally, and this is weird as someone, and I'm sure you have an opinion about this one way or another, as someone who like puts a giant piece of yourself out there, I prefer people not to listen to it. I say all the time, it's like, yeah, I'm putting it out there because I want you to know that I do it and I have this like creative itch that I like to scratch. But I would prefer, if you're going to listen to it, that you either wait until you've already met me or you've decided you don't want to meet me, because I feel like I'm leaning in. It's like, yes, this is real and we're portraying ourselves the way we really are. And we have these attitudes about dating, but I'm definitely being sometimes the absolute worst version of myself. And that is not the first impression I want to make.
100%. That's exactly what I say too. Sometimes I'll meet a guy and I'll bring up or they'll bring up the podcast, be like, oh yeah, I read, like I saw, and I'll ask if they've listened to it, because I feel like it gives people an idea. And I'm sure this is what you're saying too. It gives it a false idea of who you are, even though it's like, I'm 100% myself on the podcast. And I know you are too, but there is kind of like a theatrical element that comes into it. That's like, I don't lead like all of my conversations the way that like, I don't like bring up vibrators in the first like 5 minutes of like a date, you know? And like, I think
you should. Men will appreciate that.
Yeah. Like some guys just kind of like, I don't know, think that that's just like, I'm like easy, which I have no issue with. I don't care if you think that I'm a type of way, but like, I don't want to have to like undo that. So when I know that they haven't listened to it yet, I get a little bit, it's better. So I completely agree. I don't want there to be like any sort of, I want us to be on the same playing field when we meet each other. I don't want you to have like a leg up on information about me, you know?
That is exactly what I say. I'm like, you know, if you were so inclined, there are 85 episodes and about 200 and some hours of me revealing some of the most intimate details of my life. And if you are a creep and you want to spend 4 or 5 hours digging into that and then we meet, it's like, how one-sided is that going to make the conversation?
Yeah, right. You know what I think is interesting though, from like a female perspective, is like knowing that a guy has a podcast or he's like, I don't know, a therapist. I don't know. Like, I have been on so many dates.
Same diff.
Yeah, we're
Definitely
basically
not a
like
therapist.
right. I get my PhD in podcasting. I always gravitate toward those kind of profiles because I'm like, okay, he listens, which is like a huge thing. I cannot tell you how many dates I've been on where a guy will just like rant for a half hour, ask me a very boring question about myself, and then instantly their eyes glaze over. Like, having somebody that can listen, ask good questions, like those are all qualities of somebody that has a podcast, especially a podcast with one other person. Like, it's not just him just like talking at a microphone about like historical movies for an hour and a half. Like, it's conversational. So like, that's a quality that I think is attractive. So it would make sense why women would be gravitated towards it. I don't know what it's like on the other end because I don't have like a male brain. But
I'm going to tell you what it is.
Yeah, please.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. He's a challenge. Women, look, the women that
I'm
are
a 7. I am not a challenge.
I'm just saying,
You're a
like
10,
you, right? Like some, like some people, I think probably see you like you're like this like cocky, right? Because I know you're not all the. I mean, you are a little bit, but like not always. Like when you get to this, your mushy gushy heart center, then you're none of these things I'm about to say. But when you first meet you, you can come off very cocky, very full of yourself, very confident. He thinks he's cool with his podcast and his photography stuff, right? So like,
oh yeah, because there's nothing cooler than a mediocre white dude with a podcast. Fuck.
I mean, I don't know. Some girls might be into that. Anyway, and then I think that's it. So they're like, oh, you're that type of guy. That's a type of guy. And so I think these women are like, oh, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. And then they get to know you and they know that you're shit and they leave. I'm kidding. I love you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
She says as I'm like reeling from my biggest broken heart of all time. Oh my God.
They get to know you and they
TJ,
fall in love with you.
have you recently gotten your heart broken?
Oh my God, it's the worst. We and I don't like historically, like I've never talked about active relationships on the show, but this woman, she had listened before and she was like, very much, if you ever want to talk about our relationship, our sex life, whatever, as long as you don't use my name, it's fine. And so for that 5-month span, I talked a lot about her. And then when it ended, I was like, all right, well, I really invested a lot in this and our listeners like know who she is. Time to like put the bow on this. So the last 3 episodes have mostly just me being in various stages of like healing and or spiraling. So we're just pushing towards the finish line.
I'm so sorry. That is seriously the friggin' worst. Well, I have a support group on Facebook if you want to join.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about that
right now. Yeah. What about the support group?
Yeah. So the whole TikTok thing for me started out, I actually started, so I act, as you mentioned, and everything shut down with COVID. And I was like, I just wanted to create something. So I was just like making a bunch of really stupid videos on TikTok. And then I got my ass handed to me by my ex. And similar to the podcast, like I really wanted to see like chapters of someone's healing. So I was going through TikTok and I was like going through the heartbreak hashtag and like I couldn't find anything that like I could relate to. So this was the day that he ended it. And I was just like sobbing all day. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do my own. And so I did like a little like day one video diary of like, I'm hurting and this is what it looks like. And I hope it helps someone. And I woke up in the morning and it had like 6,000 views, which was like 6,000 more than I had ever gotten. Sure. And as the day was going on, it was just like, just going up and up and up and up. And now it's at like 1.1 million, that first video. But yeah, it's just nuts. So in the comments of that and in the comments of like all of my like daily diaries, I video diary, Viry. I'm gonna
love it.
I'm gonna trademark that right now. You heard it here first. People were like trying to give each other advice in the comments, but like you know how the TikTok comments work, where it's like you have like 10 characters and then it all gets like jumbled. And so I was like, it'd be cool if we had like everyone could just like chat in one place. And so on one of my lives one night, I was like, should we do like Instagram groups? And there's like 6 people in the live and they were like, yeah, just like start it with us 6. And so I did. And it was just like rapid fire, people just like giving each other advice. And it was like really warm and supportive. And so I opened it up to everybody on TikTok. And at that time, I had 20,000 followers. And so I started getting all of these messages from people like, can you add me to one of the groups? Can you add me to one of the groups? I need this right now. So I was making 10-person Instagram groups and I had 12 of them. And I was like, I'm just kind of arbitrarily putting people into these groups. Like, there might be somebody in like group A that could help somebody in group D, but like they will never know that each other exists. So I was like, are people even on Facebook anymore? Like after the social dilemma came out, like are people still on Facebook? But I was like, why don't I'll start a Facebook group. And I named it, what was the original name? It was like Sad Talk Support Group. It was the dumbest fucking name. And I was like, nobody's going to join this. So like whatever, it's just a placeholder. And then it grew to 120 people because everybody on the Instagram support groups wanted to join. And so I rebranded and now it's called A Garden of Flowers Picking Themselves. And it has like a whole, like we're growing through the dirt. We're like blooming where we're planted. We're like watering our soil. We have like all of these like, and now it's at almost 800 people, this Facebook support group.
I love that.
That's amazing.
And it's like a lot
That's amazing.
people that have gone through heartbreak that like have already gotten through it that just want to give each other advice, like have joined the group,
Sure.
which is like the best version of humans. Like they don't owe these strangers anything and they just like want to give them advice. And like, I don't know, it's really cool, especially in the time of COVID when people feel so alone, like people are quarantined with like the love of their lives. And so you feel like extra alone. And because the world is so much smaller, our problems are taking up so much more space in our lives. So like, when you're going through a breakup, and TJ, I don't know if you might have felt this way too, like we don't have our coping mechanisms that we normally have. Like if I got
and mine are garbage anyway, so
mine
perfect.
are too.
Fair.
And like I'm almost thankful that I can't go to the bar and get hit on by like some like Amazon bro, you know? Like that's how I would have coped.
That's what I was going to say. Wait, I know normally sex with someone I don't know very well would be the play,
Yes.
and that's not really a super great option right now.
Is it not?
I mean, whatever. It's still kind of an option, but I'm trying to be careful.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, like it's a good little like Band-Aid typically, but I was not processing because like I said, this breakup was drawn the fuck out. And like I was doing just a bunch of like stupid coping mechanism stuff, like one night stands and like just standing in a bar and like waiting for someone to like talk to me that I didn't want to talk to. So having this support group now and like I've taken a step back and it's just kind of taken on a life of its own. I was just kind of like the vessel for it, which I'm so grateful for. But like being able to just kind of like poke in and see everybody just supporting each other and like being like, I know exactly how that feels. Or somebody will explain something that like I felt exactly. Like it's been so therapeutic for me too. So I feel really grateful that like I just kind of said yes to a bunch of stuff and it's led to what it is now. And it's just been really,
I'm definitely joining the group. I'm definitely joining the group. Okay, wait. And I have to tell you right now, Amelia. So I said I was going to join the group and you can't see Jenna's face. And now I said this as like me being very earnest and very genuine. As I said, healing from a broken heart, the love of my life dumped me twice in a 2-month span. Yep. And now I want to heal. But the look on Jenna's face was like TJ sees a captive audience of potentially brokenhearted women, and I could see it all over you.
It's interesting that that's where you took that.
I saw the way you looked at me.
Listen, that's accurate. That's actually accurate. I'm not going to lie. That was exactly what I was thinking. But the look on my face, how did the look? And you only know that that's what I was thinking because you know me. The look on my face was like, okay, cool. But you knew where I was going to take that. Just because guilty conscience, maybe? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Like couple more women for you to get into your DMs.
Shut up.
It's all a marketing opportunity.
Life
actually,
is marketing opportunity.
And I know that you're kidding, but that's actually something that I thought. I'm like, what if people treat this like a dating app? Like I was like, is this going to take on a life of its own? But it hasn't yet. So I don't know, TJ. Maybe you can.
I mean, it might.
It might. It's a bunch of people.
It might be your next iteration of it.
Look at that. We'll do an offshoot group.
I love it. I'll be waiting for that link.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Wait, so I was actually looking at your following on TikTok, and it's like 60, like a little over 67,000 people. I have like 4. So, but I also don't post anything. But
wait, hold on. This is my moment of bragging.
Jesus.
I joined the woman that dumped me. I joined TikTok to ask her. I like to put my asking her on a date success. First video, 100,000 views, and I got 1,000 followers my first day on TikTok.
Fuck yeah, TJ. Have you like expanded on that? Have you?
My second video also similarly got a lot of views, and then I just like was in this relationship, and I have so many other like content things I'm always doing, and I didn't put the same energy into it, but I want to, and I am like an absolute whore for social media attention, so why not?
I feel like that's
Why
like in your
not?
wheelhouse. I think you need to continue.
Healthy coping mechanisms, right? Social media thirst,
Sure.
that's one of them, right?
Ooh,
I mean, it's not hurting anyone, so.
that's true. Until you go out on dates with them.
Shut up.
I love you. Anyway, so 67,000 followers is pretty impressive. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what I alluded to it earlier, but if we could just kind of hear from you, like what made you think that this was like a great idea? Because it is a great idea, and sort of how you came up with it.
Yeah.
Well, and also what exactly it is you post, because we haven't
Yeah.
really talked about that
Sure.
either.
A little.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, that first video like was really what kind of like, well, okay, so
Sure.
I actually need to back up a little bit because I posted this video about my basement bathroom explode. I live in a townhouse, and we're at the end of the line of townhouses, and there was a clog in the sewage line, and I didn't know for weeks because we never go into the basement unless we have guests. It's like a guest floor. And
Or if you're disposing of a body.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's usually
it's
what we
one or
use
the
our
other,
basement
you
for.
know, whichever comes
This
first.
is a true crime podcast now.
Yeah. This feels like entrapment, and I don't appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding. No, so my house was like smelling horrible, like for weeks. And anyway, I went down there. My toilet had exploded. It was like my whole bathroom was filled with my neighbor's shit. And I posted this story, and the TikTok youths loved it. Like they just like love poop stories. So I got like a little taste of like, oh, there's like people like I can entertain people with just telling stories. And then I kept trying and nothing else was catching on. And then that video happened. So the heartbreak video. So every day from there for 2 weeks, I was doing everyday updates, and I was realizing that my healing was starting to plateau. So I was like, maybe I can just like give advice on the days that it feels like it's going to plateau. So I started asking people what they want to know. So I started talking about that. And then I was running out of shit to talk about. So I deleted some of the old videos that I had done that hadn't gotten any clout, which happened to be the dating app videos. Gina, I don't know if you've seen them, but I'm like pretending to be like guys on dating apps. How I read their profile.
We've definitely seen those.
I thought when I first recorded those, I was like, this is me in my prime, like making fun of like mediocre white guys and like dating apps. And I get to like act. I'm putting act in air quotes, but like it felt like I had hit my stride, but it got no attention. So once I had like 10, 20,000 followers, I was like, why don't we see if these do well again? And they just like lit up like really fast. So I just kept recording them. But like the whole point of them was that I was saying things that I see on dating apps all the time. So by the time that there's like 5 episodes of this, like people are like, okay, so this is actually a lot. Like you're seeing a lot of stuff more than once. So like, this is not really like, it was kind of losing its steam.
Sure.
So then I posted a video of like, well, like what the hell am I supposed to say about like these fucking crazy answers? I was green screening like crazy answers that I was seeing. And that women see, straight women or women that date men see all the time with guys. Like, I know I've looked at a lot of my guy friends' profiles that I like genuinely adore as humans. And I'm like, this says nothing about who you are. So like, I didn't want to talk about the profiles in terms of like, this guy's a douche. Like I wanted to talk about it as like, this tells me nothing about you, because like we're more than ever now relying on these apps to get to know someone. And when you go up and meet up with someone, you don't want to go out with somebody that you're just kind of whatever about, because like COVID is a very real thing. And like, if I'm going to like go out to a restaurant, I want to be sure that I'm being super intentional about it right now. So like
Totally.
guys' profiles that are like, and TJ, we'll get into your profile because I know I'm, but like there are things that like I'll see on guys' profiles that like I want to ask questions about. And with Bumble specifically, like guys will just have like pictures of themselves like in the mirror or like holding a fish, and then like no like helpful information from there. And then like when you go to IM or message a guy on Bumble and you just say like, hey, Bumble pops up with a message that's like, is that all you want to say? And it's like, well, what the fuck else am I supposed to fucking say? Like, what, nice mirror? Like, I don't, what? So I will almost never match with a guy that has nothing on their profile. And so, like, I wanted to provide some sort of something that could, like, maybe give guys an idea of what we're seeing on our end. Because guys on the videos of me acting like guys are like, girls' profiles are the same. And I'm like, no, wait, hold on. Hold my beer. They are not the same. And maybe they are, but that's how this all started. And it turned, and then I got banned from Hinge. So there goes my fucking career doing this. And
just Google Voice, get a Google Voice number and get a new Hinge.
Oh dear.
Pro tip.
There you go.
Well, so I used my mom's phone number to get another Hinge, and I was like, called from the other room. I'm like, Mom, what's the code that they just texted you? And she was like, am I an accessory to a crime? Are you like making me a criminal right now? But I got Hinge again. But between those two things, people started sending me screenshots of things that I could review. It's turned into what it is now. And people will message me and be like, I don't really know if I'm even on Hinge for dating anymore, if I'm on Hinge trying to find stuff to send you. I'm like, right. I feel like I'm like maybe not contributing like positively to Hinge, but it's been fun.
I actually, 2 days ago, I did a stream. I frequently in my personal Instagram account stories, that's at Chicago Cafe Racer. I will do like Jenna hates when I do it. That's why I did it. So I will post sometime, and never anything like mean or demeaning or putting anyone in, like nothing shitty. But I did a thing this week about what including a dog in your profile does for your like success on dating apps. And for a solid 24 hours, I posted every opening match I got on Bumble's message that pertained to that photo with my dog. And it was a lot of them. And so the last slide was
also
just like,
important to mention that you're shirtless in that picture. That one?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Are they talking about your dog, or are they just...
But they all say the dog.
Of course they do, because they're not going to be like, you look like a thirst trap.
Nice pet.
All right, go on. I'm sorry. Yeah. Nice bicep. Where the fuck you're showing in it. Anyway, go on.
Oh my God, I love this.
Jenna's the worst. We secretly hate each other. This is the whole dynamic of the show, is us just battling each other for the last 2.5 years. Do you want to go to the next question?
Well, actually, what I was going to say was, those profiles that don't really give you much to go on, I don't talk to them either, because I think this is actually, in my brain, a direct correlation of how serious you are about dating. Because if you're not willing to put the time and effort into a dating profile, you clearly are not someone who's serious about meeting someone. If you were, you would fill it out correctly, right? Or it's like those idiots who just put like their initials. You're like, can I get a fucking name? Like, are you married? Like,
what if my name is initials? I feel really
you know what I mean. Like, some people just be like S.
What the
fuck? Like, who the fuck is S? Like, are you married? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's kind of a fair assumption. I've seen a lot of profiles that are like, I came across this one. I haven't put it on a video yet, but I need to. It's this guy just used those like big, like shiny old smiley faces that were like circa 2003, like on all of his pictures, and then just a ... for all of his answers. And I'm like, I think this man's trying to see if his wife is on a dating app. Because like, why else? Like, you're not showing anything about yourself. You're not showing what you look like. His name was an initial. It was just J. And like, so I feel like there must be some of that going on. But then sometimes there's guys that just like think that their shit doesn't stink and they can just do like, haha for all of the prompt answers. And like, no girl wants to, I can't speak for every girl, but I've never met a girl that like wants to be like, talk to a guy, like you said, like that doesn't want to put in the effort, just type a fucking sentence. Like it's
not like it's like 120 characters or whatever. Like you can't. It's not like you're typing out an essay.
And honestly, regardless of what someone thinks about the actual content of my profile, one way or the other, it is actually filled out to its like. And the amount of people who say like, "Oh, it's nice that you actually like take the time at least to fully do it." So, ladies, that's for you. I'm doing it all for you. Just keep that in mind.
It's for you, girls.
Well, so with all of the, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I was going to say, so with all of the profiles that you've seen or that people have sent to you, what do you think would be the top 3 most insane things you've seen?
Oh my God, most insane things. Oh man, see, it's tough because like there's been some stuff of guys, and so I'm very careful not to kink shame.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there will be some guys that'll have their whole thing about like cheating on their wife. And like, I don't know if that's actually if they have a wife or they have this kink in their head of like this role play that they want. But I see a lot of that of like, my wife doesn't know I'm on here. Da, da, da. Like, that's pretty crazy because it's like, okay, like maybe some women want to be the other woman, but like, I think we're in like a very like support other women era right now. So
Yeah.
We are toppling the patriarchy actively.
Yeah, we're living it. So I feel like that's probably one that I see all of the time of guys just being like, don't tell my wife. So I don't, but again, I don't know if that's a kink. So like I'm very careful not to like put those kinds of things on my videos. But yeah, I don't. Oh, this isn't insane, but you know, I saw something yesterday that I'm obsessed with. You know, how guys are always holding fish in their photos.
Sure.
This guy took this photo of him kneeling down in a river, like how like men are always holding their fish. But he was holding a charcuterie board, and it had this like this whole spread. And I was like, I have got to meet this guy. I fucking
That's
love
incredible.
That.
I love that.
A lot of the insane stuff that I see in air quotes is stuff that's like clever that like you would never think of, because like I've seen so much of it now that it's all just kind of blurring together. So yeah,
one big amorphous glob of just douchebaggy guys across all of the dating landscape. I think the douchiest. So I know you haven't seen my Hinge profile, but on my Hinge profile, there's a video of me pole dancing, which I was like, that's
it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I would ask about that.
I think I would have to wonder, right?
Totally.
Like how many people, like the guy with the charcuterie board, I bet he gets so many responses just for being clever.
Yes.
Like, do you think I've always thought this, and maybe I'm just biased, but I've always thought it's a little bit easier for men on dating apps. You kind of clean up a little bit, because the way I see it, and I could be totally wrong, but like men tend to dictate whether or not you're moving forward in a relationship. And I say this with the caveat of thinking that if you're a woman on a dating app seriously dating, right, you it's only one-sided if only you want to date. So you've got to then obviously have the other person want to date you, right? Yeah. So I feel like women, I would say probably more so, are into relationships. This is a broad sweeping generalization, right. I know. But they're more into relationships. And so like these men who really want them and who are really serious, I'm going to assume probably like get hit on all the time, or like matched with all the time. Or
even if you are like, and this is not, I'm not saying to do this, but I definitely feel like as a theory, I'm sure this is something that happens, that we all know that people not being intentional and not leading with their true self on dating apps is a problem. And if in this scenario that we are talking about, where Jenna says that women are more inclined to be pursuing intentional relationships with dating apps, I'm not 100% sure I agree with, but we'll go with that.
Like not on like a Tinder.
Yeah, I get you. But if you are a dude who, there are many men who I think will portray that is what they are looking for clearly, even when they are certainly not.
Yeah.
Because to that point, it's like, okay, the bar is low because so many dudes are garbage. Men lead with sex constantly, which isn't inherently a bad thing if it's the right person and that's the vibe, whatever.
Yeah.
But for many people, that's not the play. And so if you are a guy who is either relationship inclined, or at least your MO is to be, I'm looking for a relationship, you do tend to, and I feel like, and as someone who prefers to be in a relationship, I hate the term you said, clean up, but I do feel like that's kind of it. Through my whole dating career, I've been able to date people who were like way too attractive for me and way too successful for me. And I think it's purely just because you get to a point where the dating pool is like so narrowed of people who are not taking it serious in any way. And they're just kind of like out there and making the rounds. And when someone is finally like ready.
Yes. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so tired of doing this. Meet me, like I want to meet a nice guy, you know? Yeah, that we just give in to you. I mean, you just wear us down. Not you, men in general will wear us down. And then we meet someone who like wants to date. We're like, yes.
Yeah.
Finally, take me off the market. I'm tired.
Yeah.
You say also, you talk a lot about things that you see regularly in, this is actually kind of a great segue. I've wondered this, as someone who yourself is a bit of an expert on this. So you've seen a lot in these guys' profiles, things that you've seen just in your personal experience or things that your listeners have sent to you. One thing that I've seen a lot in women's profiles that I wonder how many men say it is like looking for the person to get me off of this app. Or
All
like,
the time.
All the time.
Do you see that from, okay, because I see it like, I would say 1 out of 5 women's profiles have that. Like it's super pervasive.
We see a lot of that, and it's so fucking annoying. This is the most annoying thing to me is like, of course, like that goes without saying. Nobody wants to stay on these apps. It's like, like looking for like give me a reason to delete this. Like, no shit. Like it does, of course, like it's stuff like that. That's like, that doesn't tell me anything about you. I think nobody goes on these apps wanting to stay on these apps for forever. So it's answers like that are just like, and it's the same thing about overly competitive about everything. It's like, that tells me nothing about you. And nobody wants somebody that's competitive about everything. Like, it's just like, people don't think about these things. We have 3 questions and 6 photos to go off of to get an idea of who you are. Using real estate for something like looking for the person to get me off this app. Like, you're really going to like waste space saying that? Chad? Sure. Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm just over it. I'm clearly jaded, and people will always comment on my shit and be like, you're clearly jaded. Like, yeah, no fucking shit. It's because I'm seeing this stuff every goddamn day.
Well, yeah, and the reason why, I mean, it makes sense that the reason why your content is popular and it resonates is because everyone else is seeing the same things. And I know as I share things on my Instagram or talk to my friends, and it's not even, to that point, it's not even just guys that I talk to or straight cisgendered men. If I talk to my friends who are gay men, or if I talk to my friends who are women, a lot of them are seeing the exact same things and annoyed by the exact same behaviors. And a lot of it is around what you're talking about. And we watched some videos right before we started of yours. And one of them was you talking about, actually several of them were you talking about just these things that were like dead obvious. Like, why are you putting this here? You're adding no value. It's a waste of real estate. And clearly this is like a problem for everyone. And I don't know why so many people think it's a great idea. Like, do better, guys. Do better.
Because I think people don't think they're reading them. They're like, oh, if I'm hot, they're just going to swipe on me. And I'm not going to lie. I've done that before.
For sure.
But it's never anyone that works out, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
Unless
or like, it's when I see a guy that I think is attractive, then I'll look at their questions. And if their answers are something shitty, I will always say, I don't care how hot you are. Like, if you have some sort of like douchey answer, I'm like, fuck that. Like, you could be Brad Pitt, but if you're like, you know, like spouting some sort of nonsense about whatever, like, you could not pay me enough. So those answers are important and people do not realize it. And like you said, TJ, like, people are seeing this everywhere and everyone feels kind of like alone in it. Like, am I really scraping the barrel? But you're not. Like, the barrel is still very full. You just have to like get through all of this shit to find it's like a needle in a haystack kind of situation. And I've heard from a lot of people that it's helped them kind of step it up on their profile, seeing my videos. So like, that is enough for me. If I can like get one person like married, then I'll be like, I did my job.
I'm gonna have to start watching more of your videos to refine my profile technique.
You are, which is a great segue.
Oh, are we
Can
there?
I get a drum roll? Give me a drum roll. Thank you.
Okay,
so right before this. Yeah, okay. So right before this. So I didn't really give Amelia any time to prep for this. So I kind of sprung it on her. But we came up with this idea that it would be really funny to pick apart
world-renowned Chicago fuckboy TJ Saposi.
Yeah, his dating profile. Now, admittedly, we looked at his Hinge first, and I was like, "Nah, this is too tame. Let's look at your Bumble." And his Bumble was significantly douchier. So that's of course what I sent to Amelia to have her look through it and give some amazing feedback. TJ. I hope you take this advice from someone who knows what she's doing.
I'm ready. Amelia, you not only are you an expert, you are absolutely gorgeous. For our listeners who can't see her, I'm going to take the advice of a charming, beautiful woman. Go right ahead.
Thanks, teach. No, you're buttering me up before I tear you apart. I see what you're doing.
Goddamn right I am.
Well, okay, wait. Before I dive in, and this will be helpful for me to get the answer from you. Jenna just said that your Hinge is tamer than your Bumble. Are you conducting yourself differently on different apps for a reason?
I'm not as active on Hinge. The content, there's a lot, I would say 85% duplicated, but I just never put a ton of effort into it. I would say right now I probably have like 300 conversations in Hinge that I like have not responded to. I just don't use it that frequently.
Okay, that makes sense. That's interesting that you say that. I actually do have less conversations on Hinge, but I prefer Hinge. So that's interesting insight. Okay.
All
right.
I actually weird, before you start this weird thing, I have like this bizarre intimidation with Hinge. Like, even though I'm confident guy and I've been fairly quote unquote successful in the dating world, when I match with someone that I like perceive to be aspirational, I'm like, oh fuck, there's this woman, this was a mistake. She's not going to be into it, so I don't even like want to bother. So the amount of times that I match with women who are like seemingly great and I'm just like, nah, that happens a lot.
I also
That's a
feel
Hinge
like
thing.
I feel like Hinge is more, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like the people on Hinge tend to be more serious than the people on Bumble.
For sure.
And we don't want that.
And well, I feel like there's a psychology behind
I'm
this
so
that we're not
heartbroken.
digging
We don't
into,
want serious
but
right now.
okay.
All right, let's get into this.
But it's interesting. Sorry, I know I'm like so fucking verbose about this shit. But
No, go ahead.
Interesting because like Hinge is a little bit scarier because you can send someone a like and they can be like, nah, you know. But if they swipe left on you on Bumble or Tinder, they'll never know that you already liked them. So there's almost like less of a rejection factor with Bumble.
Bumble Boost.
Yeah.
Bumble Boost.
What does that give you?
It gives you can see everyone who's ever swiped you. You get unlimited extends and unlimited rematches.
Oh, shit.
So if I match with you once, you are in the TJ ecosystem forever.
Oh, my God. Oh, so it's kind of like, so you see who's in your beeline then.
Oh, yeah. You see
Okay.
in Beeline. And like, as if they're at the top and they haven't like messaged yet, you can just extend at the end of 24 hours and get unlimited extends. And when one expires, you can rematch unlimited. So I just do that.
Well, shit.
Wow.
Okay. See, I knew that Hinge had something like that because I had a free trial for a sec, but I didn't realize. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Diving in. Your first photo.
Okay.
Would make me want to keep scrolling, I will say, because you are a very handsome man.
Thank you.
There is kind of like a vague like sexual undertone on your first photo because you're in bed. Right? Or are you on a couch? Either way, you're laying down.
I'm laying on a couch, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the eye.
Like,
it's the look on the face.
And I'd be like, yeah, you look very like
mischievous.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I would continue to scroll, which brings me to your bio. I personally love when people have fake quotes from like publications or people. I think it's fucking hilarious. I will say it's like every other profile.
Sure.
But it's hilarious. And like seeing what you come up with, because I am certain you wrote all of these yourself.
They are me.
Right. So I mean, they're not GQ, but like, so
sure.
Our go-to guy for fashion advice from GQ. I wish he was my personal trainer, The Rock. I think that's fucking hilarious. So I would keep scrolling. This is how I tell guys to stack their profile. Like there has to be some stuff that like clinches the division early on because you're just constantly you are inundated with profiles.
What
like,
you don't realize is that I'm falling in love in real time right now.
Can I ask a question to break this up really quickly?
Yeah.
At what age do you stop saying you're a former college athlete?
Someone actually asked me that once.
Because,
that's a good
you're not
question.
21. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
I'd be like, cool, what have you done since? Also, how do you feel about people putting their Instagrams handles in?
Well, she's getting to it.
Okay.
All right, do you have an opinion on that?
I have an opinion on both things. So I was really into the former college athlete thing until I dated a guy that was a former college athlete, and it was like 95% of his personality. So like, I think that it's good that you just kind of like threw it in at the end rather than like played football for Clemson. Like I don't need all of the color, even though that's like objectively cool. But like, what sport did you play?
I played football.
Okay. See, it doesn't come up anywhere else in your profile, so I think it's okay.
It's such a minimal part of my personality, and I almost never talk about it. So
I know. That's why I think it's so interesting that you put it in there in the first place.
yeah, because I think my profile, from just my own perspective of it, is I'm very much leaning into this like creative, outgoing, like very, I don't know, like that aspect of my personality. And when you look at me, I'm like a bearded kind of metrosexual dude, and I wanted to be like, oh no, I'm also like reasonably fit. I like played sports. This is like a part of my personality also, that although I don't want to like lead with it because I don't feel like it's core of my character, I think it is like something that I did, and something like the amount of people who match with me who are like, oh, I was a former college athlete too. Like, like I played this at this. What did you? It's just like another thing to potentially have a conversation about.
Yeah.
That's fair. I see that.
And you're athletic. You see, I think it would be different if you could tell that like you haven't like been to the gym since college. You know what I mean? Like you can tell when a guy is athletic by looking at him, and I can tell that you're athletic. Like I can tell that you take care of yourself. So putting that in your profile is, I think, okay. Jenna, to answer your question of like what age that stops being okay, I don't know. Like, I guess it really depends on the guy. Cause I'm right there with you, Jenna. Like whenever I see former college athlete, it really depends on the profile. Sometimes I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Sure.
Like in this case, it doesn't bug me. It doesn't bug me.
And I want to say, even though I did give you a compliment right before we started this, and then I also professed my love like 10 minutes later.
It has nothing to do with how nice she's being.
It does not.
Has nothing to do with, no, I am, if you've seen my videos, I don't hold back. So I am being completely honest. The Instagram handle, it depends as well, because sometimes I want to keep digging and see what you're all about. Women have like straight women or women that date men have a specific like kind of challenge with like, are we meeting up with Ted Bundy? And like, I don't say that lightly. Like that's that's real. And so like, if I can see like your tagged photos on your Instagram, or like seeing like, you have a lot of friends that are commenting and saying like how great you are, like, oh, this is a great picture you dude. Like that's the stuff that I look at, because it's like, okay, they have people that trust them. And I know that like there are serial killers that like are really good at being serial killers and nobody knows who they are. And
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy for one.
Yeah.
So like I'll check their Instagram, and I'm like FBI level. Like the FBI is missing out on an opportunity with me. I'll find your Instagram regardless, just from like your name and like your hair color. But when
social media sniper,
that's me. But if you put it in your bio, I'm like, okay, he has nothing to hide. And so then I'll dig into it. Sometimes it's a guy that's like a model, air quote model, that just like wants to like, well, like if you want more photos, like, here I am. And like, trying to get followers. And I know guys run into that too on girls' profiles, like dropping their Instagram link or so just to like get attention, which is another thing. But I prefer to see the handle in their bio.
You are validating me so heavily right now. I could not love you more.
She doesn't know you. Just kidding. Do you link your Instagram too at the bottom of this? Because I can't tell. With the
I do. Yeah,
you do. Okay,
like my Instagram, but
that I'm okay with. I think for some reason, and maybe because I'm jaded, but I think when I see an Instagram handle, it makes me feel like they're trolling for followers. That's my, and maybe because I'm in that business, listeners. Right? Well, that's what I'm saying. But maybe because I'm in that business, right? So that's maybe just the way my brain works. But I do like when they link their Instagram. Mm-hmm. So like, don't put it in your profile, but link it at the bottom, so I can talk a little bit. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I see. I like having like the option of having more photos of myself. I can't link my Instagram anymore because I think that that's what got me banned from Hinge in the first place, was my dating app videos, and somebody like reported me for bullying is what I think happened.
Oh,
which is pretty, I'm like, this has been good fun. If you get offended by what I say, then you're the problem. You know?
You seem like a bully. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm like so mean.
And you've been so sweet right now, but I know there's something bad coming. So I'm ready to report you for bullying. Bring that shit.
All right. Let's go. No. Okay. So I'm going to keep going on your profile. Love this photo of you he's wearing a plaid jacket.
It was actually full plaid suit.
Hell yeah. Okay. I love that shit. If you had the full suit, when guys post something, like I'll see some guys that like are in full like blue snowflake suits, and I'm like, he's confident. he doesn't really care what people think about him. Even if you do, it's like still just kind of being like, well, I am so attracted to guys that are unapologetically themselves. And if I can see that come through on a profile, I really like it. The thing about that is some guys will like show themselves a type of way and then they're not that type of way. And then I have to be disappointed when I meet them. So like if there's ever anything that's like out there and like quirky, like unless you're actually quirky, don't put it on your profile, in my opinion. Also, I want to caveat all of this. A lot of people have been asking me to do like show good profiles. And it's so subjective. Like there might be some people out there that like love men that are competitive about everything, you know? Like,
and I want to say for everyone out there that has ever said that she should do good profiles, here you go, guys.
Here you go. Right, yeah, I'll send them to this episode. Yeah, this is the only. Honest to God, I think this is the only time I'm going to do this where I'm complimenting profiles because like it's just not as.
It's not as fun. I mean, it's great for my ego, but I love it.
And it is so much easier to point out bad profiles. I think bad profiles are pretty objective, like like as all their answers, or like posting like all mirror photos in like a dirty mirror. Like that is a lot more objective. On
Snap.
What'd you say?
Hit me up on Snap.
I fucking hate that. I hate when people drop their Snapchat name. Like, are we 16? I can't deal. Okay. 2 truths and a lie, TJ.
Yes. This is douchey for sure.
I have like men that I know, not all the men in my life. I know that there are going to be some guys in my life listening, like, this is not me, but like love lying. And so like for there to be like 2 truths and a lie, being like, fuck yeah, like I get to fucking lie. Like I hate seeing 2 truths and a lie. The game itself gives me anxiety. I don't know why. Like doing like icebreakers at work.
Sure.
I don't want to play this when I see this, but I will say, and I don't mean to do this, like, I'm not trying to be easy on you. Like, your 2 truths and a lie all make me want to ask more. And that is exactly the point of the prompt. Like, so I'm going to read these because I know people listening don't have this in front of them. The 2 truths and a lie are, I went viral on the internet 3 times in 2020. I stopped an armed robbery and have the security footage on YouTube. And Bill Gates is a distant cousin. I want to know about every single one of those, and I want all of them to be true because they're all good conversation starters. I'll see some guys be like, I dated Miss America. I'm allergic to vegetables. I truly do not give less of a fuck about any of these, but these are all good. Which one, can I guess which one's true or which one's false? I'm going to guess which one's false. Well, I actually think I know because we kind of talked about it. Is the first one a lie? Went viral on the internet 3 times?
No, that's real.
Oh, well, I guess you're really talking about TikTok.
Not like viral, but like a couple 100,000 views on 3 different things, which were for someone who literally my total following across every platform is less than 10,000 people. So it's not like those numbers are significant for me for sure. The lie was the Bill Gates one.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's what makes this this a good one because unlike the examples, Amelia, you gave that like drive you crazy. I think that like, because those are so dumb and you're like, I'm going to guess that it is not that you do eat vegetables, right? Like you like know, whereas his are interesting and you don't know because it could literally be any of them could be true, right?
If I don't get dates out of this episode, I'm going to be so pissed.
You better invite me to your wedding, T. I better have a throne at your wedding.
Oh, you will be there. When instead of the bride being walked out, the bride will already be there. We'll carry you out on a throne.
And then you should officiate.
Yeah, she
that idea. Marry you.
Whoever I marry, even if it comes out of this episode, you are now officiating.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. I'll get ordained. Just give me a heads up.
Awesome.
You're amazing. Okay. But no, these are all like good conversation starters, every single one. And I want to see the footage of you stopping an armed robbery, and I fully expect you to send it to me after this because I will. I'm just curious about everything that you're talking about. So this is great.
You will be afraid for your life. You're gonna be like, this is a dude who can be terrifying in the moment.
I love that. Some people want to feel protected. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next photo, I'm assuming it's from one of your live shows for the podcast.
I did stand up.
Also fun to know, and I'm sure will women ask about that?
They do. It's sometimes women will be like, "Oh, were you doing karaoke there?" And I'm like, "What? No, I was not doing
It
karaoke."
doesn't look anything like a karaoke setup.
Mm-mm. And if you're getting like legit pro photos taken while you're doing karaoke, you probably have some substantial issues you need to deal with in your life. I'm not judging. I'm just judging.
You just really sold yourself for just turned yourself in for that one. Okay, so this is kind of actually out of order now, so I don't know. Oh, I see what's going on. The next photo is you and the dog.
Okay.
You have hit, me and Jenna were texting about this when she sent it to me. This is like the trifecta, this photo. You're shirtless. You're laying in bed, and you have
I'm actually on a dog bed.
It's whatever.
That's...
You can't tell.
Yeah, you can't tell. And also, I don't know if that's better. And you have a very, very small dog. And that is the three things. You almost never see it together. This is like a Sasquatch sighting. But you've hit all three of them.
And you're shirtless. Did we say that part?
Yeah, she said that I was shirtless, yes.
Yeah. Oh, and the beard. So you kind of have like kind of four things going on. Because I think that the beards are, I'm like a testosterone junkie. I love a beard. So I would see this and I'd be like, okay, I can see you have muscles. We love that in this household. But
are you flexing in that picture?
No.
Oh, okay.
If I saw this, I'd be like, I don't know. Jury's out on this one. But the rest of your personality that shines through on your profile, I think it evens it out. Do you know what I mean?
I see this picture, and contrary to how much should I give you, this would be the clincher for me because you're the other ones in your like earlier on, like this is the last one, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the last one.
So if it's the last one, I think like I'd be like, okay, like I was hooked already, and now look at that muscle with the cute little dog I'm in.
Totally.
Like it's a closer.
But if I led with it might turn you off. If you led
with it, I would not. Yeah, but that because it's too douchey up front. At the end, you're good. I'd be like, oh, okay, I see you.
Yeah, I mean, we're all a little douchey. Like I'm just trying to be like to properly represent the 5 to 8% douchey that I actually am.
Just might as well come right out with it.
18 to 20% douchey, fine.
Was Jenna like 5?
That is 100% the exact look she had on her face.
No, it's good. I mean, this is what I was talking about. How you stack your photos is so important. If I saw that as your first photo, I'd be like, nope, because like that gives too much away too early on. That is not a good representation of you. So I think it's good that this is your last photo.
Okay, I'm not changing a thing. Keeping it all the same. You're all good. So real quick, before we go into the last part of the episode, there's a group on Facebook that I'm in. It's called Dog Spotting Society. It's one of the largest dog groups. You're in it?
I'm in it.
I posted that photo. So there was hold up. So there was a thread and some woman said like, hey, is there any hot single dog dads? Like, let's see a picture of you with your dog. And I threw my picture in there, and within like seconds, it had like 100 likes, and other people's were getting likes as well. And the thread was blowing up, but the group removed it. And I was like, oh no, I was about to get like all my weekly social media validation in like 10 minutes. So I'm reposting that and it's like new individual thread, which it got like a couple thousand likes and I got asked on like 100 dates in like 4 hours. And I was like, this group, man, that picture, that's the day I put it in my Bumble. I'm like, this is going into my Bumble immediately.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, see, this is what I mean. It's like, it's so subjective whenever guys are asking me to like do their profile for them. I'm like, just be yourself and you're going to attract the type of person that you should. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not or like hide pieces of my personality. And like, if you laying down in a dog bed with your shirt off and your little tiny dog is you, then like, great, like fucking show that. So
I would argue that nothing has ever been more me, so fuck it.
And like that's the thing, is like that might not be someone's cup of tea, but like it is, and that's the kind of person that you want to end up with, period. So like, I don't know, I'm always in the camp of just being your authentic self on your profiles, and it'll all come together after that.
I love that.
I was gonna say, I think there's always also a story. Like if that were me, I'd be like, tiny dog, huh? Like right? And then maybe I'd make,
it's for scale. I keep them
right,
I keep them in
exactly.
the screen for my dick pics.
Well,
like scale,
right? Because then it leads to a funny conversation. But the reality is the story behind the dog was you got it when you were married and you kept both dogs and yada yada. Right? So there's like a whole story behind it.
I'm not telling people that shit on a dating app.
Well, no, I mean, I think it makes you human, right? It makes you it maybe takes down a little bit of the douchiness from the picture where you're like, oh yeah, maybe because she could have listen, when I was married, I didn't even give him a choice to take the dogs. I was like, no, these are definitely mine. Like, do you know what I mean? So
Sure.
I feel like the fact that she didn't fight for them or whatever is a story in and of itself somewhere down the road,
So the moral of this episode is not just that Amelia is incredible and her TikTok and her podcast are next level. It's also that my dating profile is perfect. And if you're listening and not on Bumble, that you should date me immediately. If you're within like a short hour drive of Chicago, that can be arranged today.
Why am I
Slide
here?
into the DMs. Yes.
DMs.
This is good.
Why am I here?
You want to go to the worst date night? Go to that. Come on, Jenna. Tee it up. Let's Sagoo. One of our listeners messaged me yesterday on Instagram
Does she
and
think
said,
I don't know what it means?
No, she's like, why do I find myself constantly saying Sagoo now? And I'm like, well, because my co-host is a moron.
I know that's not how you say it.
I know.
Segue. Yeah. But
like 5 episodes ago, she said it, and now she says it like every episode, and then I say it back, and it's becoming a thing, apparently.
I love that. Now I'm going to start saying it. You guys should get merch with Sagoo on it.
I was just thinking that. You're in my brain.
All right. So speaking of Sagoo.
Last question, and then we will let you go because I think we've had you now for quite some time, and we appreciate it very, very much. You are as lovely as I thought you would be.
Oh.
And she hasn't been staring at your face for the last hour. I'm going to say she's lovelier than I thought she'd be.
Oh, TJ. Now you really like me because I just validated you. I see you.
Oh, I liked you in the beginning, and now it's love.
Oh, TJ.
All right.
Okay, sorry, Jen. I'll let you talk.
So we used to do this thing. We try to do it regularly. I don't know what happened, but I think we talked about recently about bringing it back, where we always are trying to ask our guests, like what their worst, like craziest date has been.
Like
do you have like a bad date story to share?
I do indeed.
Ooh, tell us.
It.
Oh God. Okay. Right when I got out of my relationship, I was in the headspace of like, what is my lowest hanging fruit? Which is like not kind. And I was thinking back, and there was a guy from my college that was like always like trying to get after it. Like every time me and my boyfriend would be on a break, he'd be like, hey, it's like he had a radar. So I was like, I'm going to hit him up. And so I ended up hitting him up and driving an hour south. This is how an hour for some Joe Schmo. And I show up at his door. This guy's like the biggest tool. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't trying to get a relationship out of this. I was like trying to get like sex out of this. So, and he's not a good guy. I sound like a bitch, but he's like not a good dude. And so I show up at his door and I can hear the History Channel like blaring through his door. And I'm like, what? And he opens the door and he's like, hey, like over the History Channel. And I walk in and like from his front door, you can see into his kitchen, and his 2 roommates were fully cleaning their rifles in the kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I'm like, did I just show up to get killed? Like, this is like my first date out of a relationship. And I'm like, I've like walked into this like murder situation. And so I like say hey to the roommates cleaning their guns, and they like don't put them down to shake my hand. They just like switch hands. And so we go into the living room where the History Channel is on level 100, and his roommate, 4th roommate, stoned to the bone on the couch. And he's like yelling at him to like say hi to me, but he can't hear me over the fucking History Channel. And he just like looks at me, doesn't say anything. I like go to shake his hand. He doesn't move. And then we just sit there on the couch next to him in this beanbag chair, yelling over the History Channel for an hour and a half.
Wow. All this really tells me is you should be dating older.
Wait, you think old men watch less of the History Channel?
No, but that living situation to me screams young people. And if not, then yeah. Because
and I mean, like,
a lot.
he was like young of the mind as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, you do not need to be living in this dirty house with these people. Like grow up, you know? I'm okay with having room. Like, I can't fucking talk. I'm living at home right now, but like, I don't want to be living in a dirty house with like 4 of my friends. Like, I'm done with that part of my life. So that was also a red flag. But yeah, we didn't see his room once. We just like sat in his
Probably
living room.
for the best.
What?
I said probably for the best.
Yeah.
100%
There were two more.
for the
There were
best.
2 more roommates in there, and they were also cleaning guns.
In the closet.
In a closet. Yeah.
They were actually sharpening an axe too. It was a whole operation. I don't know.
I mean, it honestly, at that point, nothing would have shocked me. He was also asking me about my single friends. Like, would they ever date me?
What?
Through this whole conversation, I'm like, dude,
Oh
I
my
came
God.
here because like you like me. Like, why did
you
I
drove
drive
an hour and a half?
Wow.
an hour south just to like hear this guy talk about my friends are beautiful, but like they're not here. You know what I mean? Like, let's not
Right.
talk about them and then be afraid that I was going to get shot through the wall the entire hour and a half. So it was I was like, maybe I don't try to date this way. And then that's when I joined the apps. So I
and then it was only downhill from there.
If I have one
Exactly.
wish going forward out of this episode, I know we just only met today, but my wish for you is that you never get murdered on a date. So
Thank
we'll
you.
keep our fingers crossed for that going forward.
Thank you so much.
And on a more serious note, I just want to say thank you so much, Amelia, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Why don't you take a second right now and let everyone know where they can find you on your socials and kind of what you're up to?
Yeah, you can find me at Amelia Samson on Instagram and Twitter. I talk a lot of shit on Twitter, so just a warning. A lot of politics, so if you're not into that, don't follow me there.
Big Trump supporter?
Amelia, can you
I'm
tell them
kidding,
how
I'm
to
kidding.
spell your last name? Because it sounds like there should be a P in there.
Yeah, and
But I
there's
know
not.
there isn't.
Thank you for that. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks there is. So Amelia, Amelia, and Samson, Samson is how you spell it. And then you can find the Holy Hour at the Holy Hour, TheHoelyHour on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Yay.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to make sure to include all of those links in our show notes. So
Great.
guys, give her a follow, check out everything that she does. Jenna, anything from you?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys, if you want to find out more about Menage-A-Pod, head over to our Instagram at Menage-A-Podcast, where you will find our link tree that includes links to our Facebook group, website, merch store, and more. And a quick thank you to everyone who makes the show happen. Amazing guests like Amelia. Again, thank you so much. My co-host, Jenna, I love you, friend. Me, because I rock. And of course, you guys for downloading and listening to the show. Until next time, share us in your stories and find other ways to tell a friend about Menage-A-Pod. And of course, good luck out there. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.